Hi, and welcome to Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast, the podcast for real estate agents absolutely everywhere. I'm Lisa B, and during this podcast, we're going to be talking about everything real estate. What's working, what's not working, AI, automation, technology, eXp Realty, and absolutely everything to do with real estate. I'll have guest speakers as well, where we'll answer your questions from the Facebook group, Let's Talk About Real Estate. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group, make sure you do that now, and we'd be happy to help answering any question. And again, welcome to the show. Okay, welcome to Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast. Here I've got Steve Craggs from eXp in the UK. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, indeed.
That's
on the
right.
other side of the pond.
What's that? On the other side of the pond?
Well, on the other side of the world, yeah.
Yes. So you're based in the UK, but you're actively growing eXp in international as well. So tell us a little bit about that. Well, actually, we should just rewind a little bit. So before you came to eXp, you were the CEO of Remax, weren't you? So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. And then you joined eXp. Yes. So
Indeed.
Then we go now to the international market. So what have you done since you've come into eXp?
So yeah, I mean, I suppose just a bit of background. So probably most of my real estate career for the last 15 years or 20 years has been primarily overseas. I lived in Portugal, spent a lot of time in Spain as well, and working within the European marketplace. Mm-hmm. So coming into eXp was just perfect. And, you know, we talk about no boundaries, no borders, no blockers. And I always say then no politics as well, because that's what normally happens when you're part of franchising and licensed network. So for me, I was able to be, you know, I was right time, right place. I introduced eXp Romania into eXp last year, and also eXp Luxembourg into eXp. So we opened 2 countries. And as of now, which is now just 1 year in, I've probably got agents in I think something like 8 countries, 9 countries right now.
That's
so yeah,
so
it's really cool. It's really cool to be able to do that and take the benefit of your historical knowledge, skills, and connections.
Yeah. So Remax say they're a global company. What's the difference between if you say they say they're global and we're global? What's the difference?
So apt that you asked that question, because I was actually talking to a Remax franchise yesterday, and we were talking about exactly the same question, that Remax boasts to have 115 territories and 145,000 agents. However, you try and find an agent in another country to collaborate with, or if you've got something a bit special, trying to find distribution for that something special. And this person yesterday that I spoke to, for example, was selling special projects like manor houses and castles, and something a little bit nice that she really needed some help internationally with. And in the end, she had nothing, and she tried for 1 year, and now she's actually set up something separate to just purely help with international collaboration, because Remax didn't do it for you. And the biggest thing for me is, because countries are owned, and they are owned by a master franchise owner, like I owned England and Wales. And then within the countries, franchises effectively they don't own locations as such, but they own their little areas. Everyone's really, they're really delicate with who they let in. And if I, for example, if somebody from Spain, and I'm not particularly talking about Spain because the boss of Spain I know very well and I like very much, but if he knew I was out in Spain doing any business, he'd want to know about it, and he'd want to know what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and who I'm doing it with. And that's because people own this, and they're very, very sensitive.
They're in a territory. Yeah.
So for me, it's just because I can get on a plane any day of the week. I can go to any one of our countries that we operate in, and I can attract agents. I can talk to franchises. I can bring agents in. I can talk to the country leaders. I can talk to other existing agents. It's just like you've got a free run, free roll. And you, as I said to the lady yesterday, I said, this business allows you to fly
Yeah, it does.
without
No
any
territories.
issues.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be working together as well, which is amazing, and that's what we're going to be talking about as well. So, yeah, you can grow with other agents, and you're actually promoting properties in Dubai. You've got exclusive listings in Dubai and things like that too. So that's, not only can you grow an organization of agents that you can mentor, help, and help them grow their businesses within eXp. It's also the real estate, because people just think that you're getting the platforms, you're getting your real estate portals and you're getting your bits and pieces, but you're actually getting a full-on business. You're getting lots of different ways that you can earn an income. And if you're entrepreneurial like you are and I am, there's lots of different ways that you can make money and expand and all that sort of thing too, which you can't in, say, a Remax office, can you?
No, I mean, look, this is a plug in and play business. That's how I describe it to anybody. I said, I think the best people for our business are the people that have already identified that when you're working with a 53-year-old business such as Remax, and I know we're talking a lot about Remax, but it could be Century 21, it could be Keller Williams, it could be Era, it could be any of the older, more established long-term brands where they just haven't changed. They haven't modified and modernized their systems and technology and marketing, and they provide no assistance to their agents. What happens? The good agents start to create their own persona and start to create their own independence. And before the question you ask to an agent, and a question I'd ask any agent in Australia who are working for these brands is, are you actually, are you happy that you are working and feeding this brand that is not yours, you don't own, or, are you more sensible and create your own identity and your own independence? And people buy you anyway, if you're a good agent, but actually stepping outside of that and start thinking, well, do I actually need this brand? And why am I giving 50% away to promote this brand? And actually people are coming to me anyway without the brand.
That's right.
And this
So
is
if
the
you are
beauty
the
about
brand,
eXp.
yeah, if you are the brand,
Yeah.
then they're going to come to you anyway. So so we were going to talk about 4 things. So future proofing, I think that's really important. So what would you like to say about future proofing?
So for me, and I mean, if anybody probably saw my previous, I don't know about podcasts, but videos or posts in Remax, I talked about legacy. And when I started thinking about legacy, I was probably even not misinformed myself, because I'm an intelligent guy, but I really didn't think it through about when I was thinking about legacy and thinking about building your own business within a franchise or a licensed environment. And don't get me wrong, you're still building a brand, but it's somebody else's brand.
Yeah.
And that can work if somebody wants to buy that brand. But if that brand is archaic and is behind the times, people feel that's less and less interesting to buy. So, but building a brand that's valued at nothing. Whereas for me, eXp, with the revenue share options and just generally the network, I think that building the future proofing as far as building your network locally, that you can do if you want to build a team locally, but building that network globally, for me, it's not only a wise thing to do, because, look, let's say the UAE, we've got a geopolitical situation in the UAE, even though they're getting through it really nicely and business is okay. But, you might have a bit of a flat environment in the UK, and you might be booming in Spain. Something might happen in Portugal, but actually Italy's doing really well. So I think the spreading of that business that any intelligent person would do.
Yeah.
Correct. Diversification,
Yeah.
bringing in various layers. And don't forget, eXp is not just a one-trick pony. We don't just do sales. We do lettings. We do commercial. We do land and new homes. We do luxury.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at a different diversification in country, but also diversification in the type of agent that you're looking for,
Yeah.
then this is a really, really beautiful situation of being able to create that future proofing. And the beauty of it all, which I found based my previous life in Remax, is the investment is your time, and in my instance, travel, and that's it. Because once you've done your time and travel and you've attracted these agents, then you're plugging them into an existing, beautifully slick system in their country, which is great. And then your job then is to support them through that onboarding and support them then in whichever way they want support. So it's just a beautiful thing, as I say. I said to one of our leaders last week or the week before, it's like a sport. It's so nice, it's so cool.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
so future proofing legacy is just pure, is there.
and the legacy is also the and future proofing is your different ways that you can earn the income as well, like getting your shares and all that sort of stuff as well, which we'll talk about now too. So personal branding and legacy. So what about personal branding, which is
Yeah.
so important? Like, like you said, otherwise
Yeah.
you're growing somebody else's business when you are the brand, and the legacy is what you can leave. Like if you're growing an organization, you're growing your rent roll, you're growing all of those different things. That's your legacy too, isn't it? Like that you want to build the empire that you're not listing and selling for the rest of your life.
Totally. And yeah, I mean, I was talking to this girl I was talking about personal branding with. She started around about 8 months ago, and she's posting 3 times a day, and her lead level is just gone like this. It's absolutely phenomenal how many inbound interested. And I said, look, you're building this personal brand, and what was we talk about legacy, and what does legacy mean? It means you're creating something for hopefully someone to take over.
Yeah.
And now her daughters and children are forming part of her videos, and they're interested in real estate,
Oh,
even at
that's
this
so
young age. And
cool.
I'm not saying we're all, having child labor helping us build a business. But you know what inspired me the other week when I saw Elon Musk take his son to China with when Trump went over there, and next thing you see is Elon Musk with his 5-year-old son at this global Chinese US summit. I thought, wow, that's powerful.
Hasn't
So
he
I
got like
thought, this
25
is
children
really
or
cool.
something?
I have no clue how many, but in this occasion, he took his 5-year-old, I think. But for me, it's like you're building something, and your name's above the door,
Yeah.
and you're building it for you, you're building it for your family, and you're building it for something to be passed on to, should they wish to take on that. And I've got a client at the moment that's just passing everything on to his son. It was 10 offices in a different brand, and it will be soon our brand, and he'll be
Hey.
passing that on to and he's passing it on to his son, or you get to sell it, and you get to sell it almost in a business that's neutral. You're not buying. Somebody hasn't got to come and buy a Remax balloon that's going to cost them X amount every 5 years and this much of royalties, or this. You're buying a brand that's established that somebody can take over and then reinvent and rerun with. So for me, you got so many more options by building that personal brand.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so massive savings. So I know here in Australia, we're sort of only talking about Remax because of your Remax situation, but I know, say the Remax offices here, they have to pay desk costs, they pay the transaction costs, they pay, all those different fees, which is, it's so expensive. If they're going to go on holidays, they're still paying, I don't know, I think it's like 3 grand or something a month, I heard. That's a lot of money. With our model, and I'll be interested to hear how much yours is, but ours is only $275 a month. And you get all your bits and pieces that you need, and then you've just got 75-25 split up to 100,000. You keep everything over 100,000, and then just transaction fees are 550 basically. So you'll save a lot more money in some of those other ones, and I can't believe that they can still charge that amount of money in Remax. It blows me away that they can charge that amount still.
I think for me, I go back to 53 years. If you look at what happened 53 years ago, there's absolutely very, very little change. to what's happened 53 years ago. And if you look at Remax Europe, for example, and I mean, I can only talk much about what I've been involved with, which is primarily Europe, albeit I did know a little bit about Australia and various other territories. But, the same applied 30 years ago as it does today. There's a franchise fee that you pay every 5 years as a franchisee, or a franchisor or franchisee, and ultimately you're paying that. Let's say it's 25,000 euros. So in your money, it's probably $40,000 every 5 years. For what? For giving for allowing you to promote their brand and their logo, and that goes with, we want to talk about franchises, let's say, but from an agent point of view, it's, the normal agent will go in on a 50-50 split. They don't really get that much. I think Remax was very much about bringing on rookies, and maybe that's why there's a 50-50. But even when you're an experienced agent with Remax, you start on a 50-50. Some might get a 60-40. Or if you want to get anything like what we have here in eXp, you've got to pay for it. It's called a pure system, and effectively you get a higher percentage. But whether you make transactions or not, you in Europe, I think they pay something like 1,500 euros or so per month, which is again what you're talking about 3,000 Australian dollars a month to get a higher commission rate. And that's if you do business or no business. And this is like madness. Why would you do this when you can come to us and actually have something completely different and better? And for me, it's night and day. I mean, we do, and I have, in some of my posts, I've actually done comparisons, financial comparisons, and it's just night and day. And if you've got a good agent, it's a no-brainer, as you've said. Once you've hit 100,000 Australian dollars, you keep all the commission for that anniversary year. I mean, if you've got guys doing $400,000 a year, which is probably a reasonably good agent, but not a superstar. I mean, $300,000 all yours.
Yeah, that's
whereas
right.
other brands, you're giving away 50%. What? Have a look in the mirror this morning and this afternoon and ask yourself, why am I here?
I know some of them are just too scared, aren't they? They're too scared to make a change when it's easy. Ours is just plug and play. It is so easy for agents to just, they're worried about admin and all that. It's so easy. Like you could do it standing on your head. We've got agents doing 100 sales, doing all their own admin, and it's so easy. What's your like? How much is it monthly fees and everything in eXp over there?
So in the UK, we're £125 a month plus VAT. So it's £150 a month, including VAT. So 125 to start plus VAT. We're on a 70-30 split, and our cap £80,000, and then over 80k, then you get 100% of your commission. And we have just over 1,000 agents, and I believe that we have over 10%, maybe even 15% of our agents that are capping. So we have really good quality, and I think we have something like 4% of our agents. So a good chunk of our agents that are doing over 500,000 a year. So, and imagine over 80k, how much they'd actually bank in all of that money. For 125 quid a month.
No, I always say you can't buy a cleaning business for that. It's like you get your own business for £125 a month, basically, don't you? So how are you paid over there? Like if you work in a high street, you call it a high street office or whatever, how are they normally paid? So if I'm working for a broker or an estate agent, or I'm an estate agent and I'm working at a broker or a high street office, how much am I normally paid, like as a salesperson? It's only a small.
So, I mean, obviously, normally, probably 87% of our business, estate agency business in the UK is employed. So people are salaried. So I would say between 25 and 30,000 geographically, depends where you are in the country. But let's say an average of £28,000, which in actual fact, when you look at national minimum wage today,
Yeah.
for an adult over 21, I think national minimum wage is about 21k, £21,000, and yet you're an estate agent expected to work probably 6 days a week for £28,000.
Wow.
And then you get bonus based on what you do, and depends on what part of the section you are, whether you're a valuer, whether you're a lister, or whether you're a viewing agent, whatever. Depends on what then bonus is. But you're normally talking about 10%
So do you
on
have
top
like,
of, and some,
so do you have somebody gets a listing fee, somebody gets a sales fee, somebody gets a valuer fee, somebody gets an admin fee, somebody gets a whatever fee? Oh, okay. So you just get
yeah.
a small chunk.
In the UK, it's probably, I mean, you could split it into 5 chunks. You could go and get
Wow.
somebody that's actually out valuing, then somebody that's listing, then you got
Oh,
the
wow.
negotiator that's inbound, then you've got the administrative guys, and so you got 3 or 4, sometimes even 5 sections where everyone's taking a salary in
Ah,
that journey. That's why estate agents employed only end up with like a small salary, or a reasonably small salary, and a small percentage, because there's so many little, let's go, not little, but so many other salaries and costs in that journey. And
wow.
we've only got a 1.2% average fee. So
Wow.
that's why estate agents struggle.
Wow. And so when they come to EXP, obviously, then they'll get the whole 100%, like apart from EXP. So they're not giving a chunk away to everybody. Wow. That's save a lot more money. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's why EXP now. I think we are now 50% of the self-employed marketplace in the
Good
UK,
would be.
and the momentum. I always say, and I use a lot of my posts. Boris Johnson said when he was getting ousted from being a prime minister, he said, the bulls, and Buffalo moves, you cannot stop it. So the EXP movement
Yeah.
has moved, and it
Yeah.
started, and we're doing that in the UK, but as you well know, we're doing it in many other countries where that movement, that momentum, and I see it because I'm obviously traveling a lot. I see it in Spain now. I see it in Portugal. This momentum is just France. I mean, France, we've got nearly 1,000 agents in France, and that's just flowing absolutely beautifully. So
So
yeah,
good. So good. Okay. And then the fourth one you said was massive lean options.
massive lean.
Yeah. Lean options. That's what you wrote to me.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think, yeah, sorry. Yes, so I mean, but for me, I think when you were talking about, I think primarily when you're talking to Remax franchises in Australia, one of the biggest things with the world economy today is cost of living, and is the cost of stuff, whether it be labor, whether it be materials, whether it be rents, whether it be whatever. The cost of things have gone up significantly, and our fees haven't gone up in line with that. So when you're talking to franchises in Australia, and this is Remax franchises, whoever you are out there, Australia,
Hey,
Remax,
Max.
uh, you've got to look at, why am I opening the doors every month and paying all of these costs, which we've talked about? If you're a franchise owner, you're paying between 9 and 12 normally percent as a franchise. You're paying that to up to the region, which is the country, and then you're paying a monthly contribution fee. Then you're paying fees based on how many agents you've got. Then you're paying training fees. Sometimes you're paying extra marketing fees and technology fees, and you haven't even put the lights on.
Started. Oh my God.
And then
Come to us. Come to us.
and then well, we talk about lean. When you think now, if you move to EXP as a team, and we didn't talk about portals actually. Portals, CRMs, all those are responsible for the agent, for the franchise. Sorry, the portals, the CRMs, the websites, the technology, the lead generation, the compliance, the administration, the accountability,
Yeah.
and the accounting of that business. When you with EXP, a lot of that is taken off you, because eXp in Australia will do your invoicing, because they will be invoicing the client. They will do all your payments, not only to you as the team leader, but to the team members. They do your compliance. So they are ticking off and making sure everything is above board and nothing's getting through the system that you've missed something inadvertently. They're doing all a lot of your administration. You're plugging into social media events, not just in Australia, but globally, where you can tap into free stuff without having to pay for it. And because we only take on experienced agents, we don't have really training. We have, I suppose, uplifting, really. We have how to, get to the next level of where you want to be. So if you take away, because as a team, you will get your portals paid for you, get your CRM paid for you, you get your website paid for you, your hosting paid for you, your emails paid for you. You've got all of these things. All of a sudden, you're the same business doing the same thing with your own identity, but completely lean. You've just took all those costs that you just don't need to pay. That's on top of what we talked about: your royalties, your monthly contribution fees, your technology fees. Forget about that, and do what you do best, and what you love to do, probably, is sell houses without the pain and the stress of how am I going to cover all of these costs this month.
Absolutely. So save a lot of money and make a lot more money, the global opportunities. And that's something that you and I would like to work with, whether it's a Remax office or whatever. You and I are going to be collaborating and coaching, mentoring agents, helping them. And especially if there's entrepreneurial agents out there that are looking at expanding into different countries, or, the UK, if you know agents in the UK or Portugal, or any other country that eXp is in, then we would like to help you as well, whether you're in Australia, whether you're in UK. We'd love to talk to different agents about what we have in mind. We've got some big goals that we want to do as well. So we'd love to talk to any agents out there that they're looking at growing their business, and we can help them as well.
Totally. So Australia, open your eyes. We're there, eXp. Think about it. Think about even just a coffee will cost you not a lot, especially if Lisa's paying.
I'll pay.
Nothing to talk to us. Talk to us, and just look. It costs nothing to go and have a comparison.
Yeah.
And say, what are my numbers looking like? What am I paying? What am I paying now? What am I going to pay then? And as we talked about on the phone the other day, Elisa, it's not just all about money. It's about the global opportunity, the open borders, the open network, and being in Australia, sometimes down under, and sometimes that far that people forget you. In eXp, you're not forgotten, Ultimately, it's true, isn't it? People think, oh, it's Australia, blah, blah, so far. But how much you're involved in the States, involved in the UK. There's just the opportunity for Australian businesses to grow both inbound and outbound is just phenomenal. And Australia's full of multicultural languages and nationalities. That it's an absolute phenomenal opportunity for that collaborative approach.
Absolutely. And remind me later, I've got somebody that I spoke to about the Dubai properties that we were talking about too. I spoke to somebody the other day and I said that I would hook you up. So that's something too. So I'm very excited. So I will see you in Salt Lake City in October. And we will have some more collaboration. And that's another thing with eXp. I've made some great friends within eXp. Like I went to Scottsdale, Arizona. Was it last year, I think? Met so many people there who have become really good friends. And so that's the global opportunities too. And I did a co-sponsorship with somebody in New York, from when I was there. So referred another lady to an agent in New York. And so, there's just business opportunities everywhere when you look for them. And when you've got them global opportunities, there's even more than outside your postcode, your state, your country. They're all over the world, which is exciting. That's what I love about it.
Yeah. And you like this now. You're no longer blinkered. You can be like this. And if you have, as you've said, if you are even slightly entrepreneurial, this business is just for you, for sure.
Absolutely. Head and shoulders above the rest. Okay. Well, anybody interested, let me know or reach out to Steve. I'll put your details underneath the video as well. And then we'd be happy to have a Zoom call and talk to anyone, especially Remax officers. Yeah. All right. Thanks for joining me.
We love Remax.
We love Remax.
See you later. Thanks, Lee. Cheers. See you later.
Thank you for listening to Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have a question about real estate, then please join the group on Facebook, also called Let's Talk About Real Estate. For those of you who are interested in eXp, please join us at 10 a.m. Brisbane time every Wednesday morning for eXp Explained. Thank you again for joining us, and don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, and see you next week.